Hi, everybody, and thank you for joining us for the next episode of our In Conversation with series. Today, my special guest is Mr. Chris McGee from Lasercut.London. Chris, it's great to have you with us today.
Yeah, it's great to be here. Thank you.
Thank you for your time today. So your business, you started as a bespoke laser cutting company way back in 2013, but obviously the origins go a bit further back than that. So could you give us a bit about why you wanted to specifically start a laser cutting service?
Yeah, so I got my first drawing board at 6 years old. So as sad as that was, I've always loved technical drawing, things like that. And probably wasn't until I was 16 and did a military apprenticeship that I discovered CAD and CAD design. So 1997, I think I started using AutoCAD. And that's when I started to get introduced to sort of this digital fabrication, but it was very much different back then. But started to see parts that I would design that would come in cut, and again, always dreamed that it would get that little bit smaller where somehow I could actually have one. And I decided to finally invest in a sort of, not a desktop laser, but definitely sort of not the sort of entry level sort of import eBay type thing. I just knew that that was the wrong way to invest my money, and ended up going with a sort of another American brand. And yeah, that was 2010. It was a sort of a personal purchase, and it was just mostly to satisfy my urges of just creating the things that were in my head. But thanks to Instagram, I started to develop sort of a lot of people that were really interested in what I was cutting with the laser. And 2013, they convinced me that it was time to sort of walk away from the well-paying job I had and sort of go it alone. And yeah, getting to where I am today, it's definitely not been a direct path, but it mostly started by thankfully not going sort of lasers that just mostly put people off, I think, because they just get such bad results from a lot of them. But
yeah, I was going to say, I think we can all agree with that. We hear a lot of people saying, obviously, I bought this laser, but then I came down the road and bought, whatever better upgrade it is, or usually a Trotec. And yeah, obviously, we can see in the background you've got your Trotec. How long was it before you were able to invest in that from obviously founding the business?
Yeah, I suppose from founding the business that was 2013, and I actually I think I met Andy in 2017, I think it was, and he really did work on me. And eventually, sort of, I came down to the showroom in 2018, and it was basically there and then. Once I actually played with that Speedy 400 and just saw it was more the processing speed. And I don't know, you could call it rose tinted glasses, but obviously I was slightly married to my other laser. I worked 18 hours a day with it, so I couldn't always see the flaws, and also I wasn't always exposed to other people's lasers, so I didn't know that the speed that it was going could be improved so much. And I just remember bringing down a file, and he put it through, and I was just kind of like, okay, that was a little bit quicker, but the processing area and things like that, it was just a sort of a no-brainer. So we basically just ordered an every option box ticked Speedy 400, every bed, every accessory, every lens that we could. Yeah, I just knew if I didn't buy it then, it might not buy it later. But no looking back. It was definitely been a turning point sort of for the company, really.
That's brilliant to hear, Chris. And obviously, you've again mentioned you were quite married to your old laser. So, what kind was there any real, other than Andy obviously getting in touch, was there any real kind of drive to change, or was it just more curiosity than anything?
Well, I knew I needed a physically bigger bed, because at the time it was 605 by, I think it was 457 millimeters, and quite often, I had jobs that I was turning away because they were 700 millimeters by 500, and I just started adding up how much money I was losing to turning away these jobs, or just the simple thing of not being able to process materials fast enough because I only had my 600 millimeter width, where just getting that extra, out to a meter, it was just amazing how much faster I could get through certain repeat jobs, and then actually later finding out that just the difference in moving to the servo stepper motors, and just the sort of the actual acceleration that the engraving, it just blew my mind. And actually just something as simple as being able to lift the lid and not having a crossbar where you want to put work in, that's actually really nice with this, to be able to just place things nicely in, versus having to lift and lower them in sort of, yeah, no, it's, yeah, definitely married to Trotec a little bit now.
Yes, I was going to say, I think you've said before that you feel like part of a family here, as opposed to more just like you and your layers. It's like you're part of a family.
Yeah, I suppose a family is the only real way of putting it, because you're not left behind. Somebody is always asking roughly how the business is going at some point, and it's not just a take your money and run sort of situation, which is, I think that's a positive for a business at least.
So regarding your laser, Chris, what's the most impressive or largest scale project that you've ever undertaken with it?
Oh God. Well, I mean, like one of the continuing projects, I do a lot of stuff with the oil and gas industry, and one of the things that we've had to do is like a lot of reducing how much impact they have when it comes to transporting things around the world. And we've actually sort of probably done now 3 or 4 years of reducing the volume of their loadouts for this one particular company, and we've actually sort of reduced to near 50% the actual shipping sizes of their products, which saves a near fortune when it comes to sort of, you know, sending things to the Gulf of Mexico or to Malaysia or something like that. But also it's been getting them into more sustainable materials. But the nice thing with having the laser is it's just that it's that so versatile that it can do so many facets of one job that might have sort of 10 to 15 different process components, you know, 10 different materials. But I mean, a lot of what I get, I tend not to do ginormous jobs. Probably from a focus point of view, I don't tend to do well for sort of like the same job for 20 weeks. That's probably not as much of interest to me. But I do like doing the very high detail, sort of high quality things. But I mean, we did do the other day, we did 750 water bottle engravings for a prominent yoga company in 2 days, which it was although I bought the rotary attachment, I'm not really a big one normally for doing sort of branding on things, but there was enough budget to make it worthwhile. It's earned its money back already, the whole machine. So it's it's definitely been a sort of a positive investment. At the time, it felt very scary when signing on the dotted line, but you know, it's allowed me to scale up quite quickly, even just being sort of one person.
I was going to say, and you've said as well that you've only had it just around 2 years, roughly 2 years. So that is quite a great return that you've been able to make the money back, you know, within that short period of time.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, the machine, if it was just on a work basis over and above what the previous machine had done, I think the machine paid itself off within the first year.
Wow.
Yeah, there's one job that I can definitely think that really this machine sort of like would have been amazing on the day. So we had an artist who had, I think it was an edition of 10 very beautiful prints. And the one thing was that they'd had the prints done and then decided afterwards they'd like to laser cut certain elements from it. With the old machine, I mean, it still had a very similar sort of, you know, you could actually move the red dot and you got the same positioning mark on the screen, which again, I don't understand how people could do without that system. I think it's one of the best things on high-end lasers, but it took us 10 hours to register 10 prints and cut them. And it was the trepidation of each time we pressed print, you know, because these things were going in a very prominent hotel. But, you know, so effectively, if we burnt the whole, again, maybe they might not have cared, but for me, I needed everything to be perfect. But now we sort of invested in the job control vision. If that job came in again, and we've done sort of similar jobs, but 3 or 4 little 6mm black registration dots printed on the extremity waist area, that would have taken that 10 hours probably for the whole job down to less than 30 minutes. So yeah, from a costing point of view, it's a no-brainer, and I think it'll be on every machine that I order from now on. And again, it's where that particular feature that actually has helped me expand, like with my direct to surface printing. You know, before I used to cut the parts out, make a jig, put the jig into the printer, print the items, whereas now I just print straight onto the acrylic, print the registration dots, bring it to the laser and cut it. And it's actually allowed me to nest things better as well, because you're kind of getting less than 0.1 millimeter tolerances, so you don't need bleeds, don't need, it's brilliant, absolutely brilliant thing. Didn't know I needed it till I got it, and then I can't live without it now.
Definitely not if it's making you that kind of time saving, 95% thereabouts. Yeah,
so it's worked quite a bit into my workflow across things that probably I would have never have considered it before.
Well, thank you for joining me today, Chris. It's been great to find out more about Lasercut.London. Obviously, you've grown quite a lot since you first started, so thank you for your time, and we look forward to hearing more from you soon.
Yeah, no, and thank you for making lasers that, well, helped me grow. So lovely. All right, then, well, you have a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you. It's our pleasure, Chris.
Take care. All right, bye-bye.